I think you can text them to signal them, or just unmute your microphone. They can unmute their microphones now.
Okay, you can unmute your microphones, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is William Omamo, and I would like to welcome you to the 5th episode of the Utopia of Hospitality series organized by Boma International Hospitality College, also known as BIHC. Now, BIHC is a world-class hospitality training institution based in Nairobi. We offer Swiss diplomas and certificates in culinary arts and hotel management. In addition, BIHC offers refresher courses, short culinary courses, as well as customized business-to-business, or rather B2B, professional programs. So we're really pleased to be the organizers and moderators of this web series. There are a number of conversations that are going on out there regarding the effects and responses to COVID-19. The Utopia of Hospitality series engages with those working at the front line within the tourism and travel sector, hotels, members clubs, restaurants, schools, airlines, food courts, delis, bakeries, and even candy shops. Here we aim to capture the view of the industry in the eyes of frontliners. So today, it is a great pleasure for me to have as our panelist, Mr. Roberto Simone, who's the Cluster General Manager of Kempinski Hotels, and Mr. Sam Mwai, the General Manager of Karen Country Club. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bill.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Good day, everybody.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. So just to get things going, I'm sure everybody is very keen to hear how things are in your individual outfits. Perhaps, Roberto, you can tell us how are things at Kempinski?
Well, we share with the rest of the hospitality industry in the world the same momentum, of course. The demand dropped in between 70–90% around the world. This is, of course, include also Kempinski, including Nairobi. And so in this moment, if somebody asks me, how is the business? We say that we are preparing ourselves for the business because there's no business in this moment. Because practically the world is completely unable to travel. To find the same situation, you have to go back to the Second World War, where the entire world could not travel because the visa was suspended. I make a small example. As Italian, I can access normally in 185 countries. Today, I can access only one, mine. And perhaps when I arrive, they put me in quarantine. Just to give you an idea how today the free movement is practically has been dropped to zero. And this is, of course, affect hospitality.
Mm-hmm. But so you are not operating at the moment. The hotel is closed.
Well, no, the hotel is not closed. We never closed because there was not such a directive. The hotel is just, in a certain way, we keep a minimal staff to keep a maintenance, of course, to keep all the equipment going. We are making our own, let's say, preparation for complying with all the government rules and ask the license to open our restaurant, of course.
So you do have F&B operations?
No, we don't have yet F&B operation. We are preparing all the restaurant to be open according to the new protocol, of course, which imply to adapt all the space, the distancing, the physical distancing, the sanitation process, and the testing, staff testing, of course.
Yeah. Sam, I'm sure for you it's a bit different with your members club. I mean, you can't really close the doors to your members. How are things with you at Karen Country Club?
Well, Bill, in the beginning, we had to close and, everybody could not access the club. But we have also retained some key staff to maintain facilities such as a golf course and, all our buildings have had maintenance and housekeeping teams on board. After the minister allowed us to let golfers come back, we opened the golf course for them. Of course, they're playing golf in a very, very different way from what they're accustomed to. They play in 2 balls and 3 balls without caddies. We also have members walking on our golf course. You know, we have a very beautiful golf course here with lots of walking paths. So you can do your 7 to 10 kilometers, you know, peacefully and in a very safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment we have golfers, walkers, we have a nail bar that's open. And then as from the 1st of this month, we opened our F&B operation in the Busani restaurant, which is a ground floor restaurant, sort of cafe, bistro restaurant. Unfortunately, it is within the ministry guidelines, so seating is very restricted. Orders have to be taken, you know, in advance, and you know, all those restrictions. But members are slowly coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our residencies remains closed.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting ready. We actually, I would reckon that we are ready at any moment now, once the government tells us to open.
All right.
Mm.
Did you, Roberto, did you guys, Kempinski, because it's an international brand, were there some standard protocols that were filtered down to, you know, units spread out across the world in terms of how to reopen and, you know, basically, what is there a template that you're given?
Yes, of course. They issued the famous white gloves protocol by Kempinski. Was issued 1 month ago. This is a practically is a kind of a support from Kempinski head office to deliver luxury while complying with the COVID protocol. Of course, we before complying with all the what is it, the Kenyan law, and then we implement what the Kempinski protocol advise, as long as in compliance with the Kenyan law, it is an addition in terms of standard to what the Kenyan law already required. Because at the end, being a 5-star and having our clients expecting the typical Kempinski experience, we have to be reminded the new customer, let's say, consumer process change a bit. So we have to really keep that Kempinski touch. But of course, before comes Kenyan law regulation. And this is why the way we work.
So you use the guidelines from the Ministry of Health as your principal tool, and then
in the line, in the sector, or in the process, on the touch point, as we call, where the Kempinski provide an additional, let's say, standard for the customer, always in compliance with the government, we implemented that standard.
I see. Sam, have you found these protocols easy to implement, or have you struggled with them, or are they some of the things that you are doing anyway?
Well, fortunately, as a club, we decided quite a few years back to adopt the HACCP and ISO standardization. We in fact inspected this early this year for the latest ISO 22000 specific standardization. So a lot of the things that were introduced by the Ministry of Health were things that we're already doing. Mm-hmm. It's just that obviously it's more expensive now that everybody has to wear a mask and wear gloves and keep changing them every so many hours. Sanitization stations have had to be put up everywhere, not just in the kitchen and the service areas. We have them now all over the clubhouse. We've even provided wash basins for our golfers when they come off the course before they can be attended to the restaurant. So it is fairly onerous, but we were prepared. I think as a club, we were quite prepared on that basis.
Okay. So I'll ask you, gentlemen, are these health protocols going to rewrite the culture of hospitality entirely? Or are they just going to be, or are they going to be predominantly the expectation of your customer, or will they just be things that, you know, over time will just fade away?
Well, let's put it that way. Hospitality will continue to exist, will continue to develop, will continue to prosper, because always has been like that. That will change the consumer pattern, because today the safety and the health aspect come as a priority, at least in the next 12, 18 months. So as an organization, me, like all my colleagues, what we will do, we will enhance all those protocols to show that we, of course, that is what care to us, the health and safety of our people and our customer, okay? So this will change a bit, of course, the flow. For example, this morning I was thinking, it's many luxury brands, the handling of the luggage is one of the paramount to establish at the arrival soon the human contact. There might be some guests, especially if he has hand luggage, that will try to avoid that we touch his luggage, even though the protocol provide that we have to sanitize the luggage. So we have to be ready, different customer behavior. There will be some customer that with the pleasure will relinquish some luxury gadgets if he can dominate himself the entire process. And there will be some guests that will be more confident on that. So we don't know yet, because in this moment we are at the beginning. So we have to be ready to change the speed according how the customer behavior will be in the next 6-12 months, let's put it that way. At the beginning, we have to be very, very, very on top of it. Then doesn't mean we lighten or we ease the situation. No, of course, if they found the vaccine and the vaccine is delivered to 5 billion people, everyone will be happy, okay? But this is not going to happen anytime soon. So the next 2-3 years, we have to live with it. And I think will improve us, because this is a pandemic. Who tell us that in another 5-10 years, we don't have another one? Another kind of pandemics. So this is help us, me, like all my colleagues, so to become a different, our management style change, our portfolio, let's put it that way, will be integrated with new, let's say, health and safety protocol approach, which is not the typical HACCP or something like that. So we are monitoring or observing what they are doing in other countries, what they are doing, what we are doing here, and what our customer will require in the key account.
I think, Roberto,
for you, it would be an advantage because you're dealing with a local customer base that understands the standards that have been set by the government. So you're also dealing with a regular customer base who can be trained so that, after 2 or 3 visits, the expectations are set. Is that a good point or no?
Well, the fact we have a usual guest, of course, it facilitates us because there is a certain level of trust. But doesn't mean that we drop the bar, because of course it's like a safety, We have our it's famous. Villa Rosa is one of the most used hotel by top delegation because we have a certain level of security in place. We have a guest coming 3-4 times a day, but our sniffer dog continue to be there. Because I think the day we stop to do it just because he's a known guest, the guests start to doubt about our, let's say, consistency in delivering such standard. Of course, we will try to find, let's say, to put the most hospitality touch possible in what is the process now. Yeah. But is what is it? We have to live with it. We have to implement. It's for our health. Is to contain this pandemic and bring it back to endemic level. Because at the end, the more we are accurate, the more the business will prosper, because the number of cases will diminish around the world. That is in our interest to be, let's say, diligent. Let's put it that way.
Sam, is this likely to affect you, and is it likely to affect your running costs, and is it likely to is it going to be carried to the client, to your members?
Yes, I think Roberto is quite right in his assessment of the situation. The new hygiene standards are the new normal. I think in every respect, we've seen it even on the golf course, where we've had to adjust how golf is played. Normally, you hit your ball into onto the green and into the cup, and you lift it out, you take out the flag. We have stopped all of those activities now. We've had to modify the way people putt out. And golfers are getting used to it. And, golfers are pretty difficult people to deal with, but they are getting used to the new normal, as it were. In the other areas, the service and food service areas and so on, I think hygiene is paramount. And it's important that everybody adapts and adopts to this new way of doing things. That's the only way we shall get around this disease.
Mm-hmm. Do you offer valet service at the club?
Sorry?
Do you offer valet service at the club?
No, we don't offer valet service. However, at the residencies, we have what we call a sort of a modified concierge service, where we will drive you, because the cottages are spread throughout the forested area. You come to the reception and you're driven in a buggy to your room. So we have a concierge service that does that in a golf buggy, and they'll also bring you to the clubhouse for meals and carry your meals back and forth. So we have to sanitize those vehicles, and we have to maintain that level of standard there as well.
Okay. Roberto, you offer valet service.
Yes.
So
valet
that's
service.
it's one of those.
Exactly.
Sorry,
It's one of the touch point where there is the cross, the human contact. So the one of the touch point, it might be, let's say, a critical point. There will be our clients that will not want you park the car, they will do themselves. There will be some others that will still be confident. At that point, you have to show that you are with the gloves, you change your gloves, you are ready to sit on the beside you, your stuff is already tested, that this risk part has been reduced already. So it's all about managing risk in reality. When it comes cost, in reality, yes, we will have some additional cost, but we'll have also some service we used to do that will not be done anymore because customer is not anymore in his priority. So give and take, after 6 months, we might find out that the two, let's say, the increasing cost for the new implementation, if the decreasing cost because you don't do anything, such things anymore, because the customer do not require anymore, they might equal each other. Let's see. In that aspect, I will wait 6-7 months to say how much the cost increase. I don't see so much negatively in certain way. Of course, housekeeping wise, we will have an increase of people, especially in the public space, because the continuous sanitation of the lobby, public area, restaurant is much more intense. You need to have more people to sanitize the various, let's say, superficies and so on. So is a kind of I will tell. Let's do another webinar in 3-4 months. I'll tell you how is it.
Okay, Sam, the same thing as well. You know, an increase in costs, but you'll absorb those costs, so you're likely to carry them to your client base, to your members.
Some of them are listening, so I'm not sure I want to comment, but it's highly likely that we will have to pass them on because some of them may be pretty high costs. But like Roberto says, you know, we have to continuously sanitize all the areas regularly. Every hour, every 2 hours, we've got a cycle that's going on. Disposable gloves, masks, thermometers that don't seem to have a very long life that need to be replaced, all sorts of things. So it's quite a high cost to us and to the industry.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we can basically assume that there is a cost element. But my question is, what good can come? What is the good that we can look forward to as a result of this pandemic? Then surely there are some positives that.
Well, for sure, all of us, we will have a much cleaner hands, for sure. We will not have any problem on that. Let me joke a bit.
On the skin will wear off your hands.
Exactly, practically. You know, my mother always told me, wash your hands, wash your hands. And now she stopped to say because she knows I have to wash my hands 20, 30 times a day, you know. The point is what is good. Frankly, of course, the fact that there is this huge global crisis which threatened the industry like never happened before in the history of hospitality, it obliged us, me, my colleague, you, to come out with new innovative ideas, to think different, to do the way differently. In a way or another one, it's forcing us to be much more big thinker in a certain way. And the fact that we develop a new process, new method of work, you train the people in a different way, you do different business scenario. You let's say, challenge yourself to find the business in a situation where you never experienced before. Definitely improve the human capital. In this way, no doubts on that. If you play well the card, it builds you the team. Because in this moment, I have 400 associates, 350, 400. Of course, we all sharing the same pain: salary cut, sacrifice, uncertainty in the future. Of course, this will keep us together in a certain way. Many companies, I think, will find a new energy, new drive for the future. Is easy? No, it will not be easy because no one knows when the recovery will come. There are many unknown factors around the world. There are many scenarios. either V shape, L shape, U shape, or Nike's watch curve, whatever it is, Kenya is an emerging economy, peripheral economy. Will benefit 2-3 years later, respect to what is the developed world. So we have in front of us a period of very tough period. What is good? I think we will learn many new things. We will be much closer to our customer because we have to show them that you are still there. And I think that those are the good things. The bad are plenty, of course. We lost a lot of money, of course. Our assets, of course, have been proven a lot. Most of us delay refurbishment, investment, development. This is in a certain way impoverished the hospitality industry. Some of us shut down the hotels. Some of us will do redundancy. What does it mean? This will at the end up to IP losses, intellectual property losses. Yeah. Because the sector is going down. It's like you are having a deindustrialization process of the sector, because many people will lose a job and will go farming or will go in another sector. Now, and then I conclude, Kenya definitely is the best hospitality country in Africa. Kenya is in Africa what the Thailand is in Asia. On this one, no one can dispute the quality of Kenyan hotelier. Thanks to the job done by the schools, by pioneeristic brands like Sarova, etc., etc. Lose human capital means waste what has been built in the last 3 decades. Okay. So that is the most risky factor.
Okay. Dan, do you have positives to add?
Like Roberto says, we're all learning new things. We're learning new ways to engage with our members. We have to provide them, digital engagement and things like what we're doing now, webinars and seminars and virtual cocktail tastings and cocktail makings and all those kind of things. So it's actually fairly exciting at this time because we have to maintain this engagement, otherwise we lose our members along the way. Mm-hmm. The negatives, obviously, all our staff sitting at home doing nothing, all that training, all that knowledge, the way our members used to enjoy the club, big groups of guys having fun, that's not going to happen for a long time. So we just have to look at it and find the new normal, as it were.
Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting how, Roberto, you mentioned, Kenya standing out in terms of its human resource. I believe you meant the human capital is what distinguishes Kenya from the other countries on the continent. Correct?
Well, you go in Dubai, you see soon. The hotel where the Kenyan are there, doesn't matter if manager, waiters, housekeeping, they have a certain hospitality touch that you don't have in the other hotel where the Kenyan are not working. This was not like this 10 years ago because Kenya were not yet there. But if you go today, there is a huge difference. Kenya are literate, they speak very good English, they are naturally hotelier. And I repeat, Kenya is 4 decades in the hospitality. So there is a huge story, huge background. Yeah. So that is good human capital.
Yeah. There's some news coming out of Dubai and the Middle East, and that is that they obviously have to shut down a good number of hotels, and we know that there's a high percentage of Kenyans who are in that region. We are likely going to have a return of these young professionals, and the question is, what should we do with them? Because they're obviously going to come back and they're going to want to continue with their careers. What is going to happen?
Well, I'm not sure everyone wants to come back because me, I left Italy for 6 months 15 years ago. My mother's still waiting. Back, So, it's like when you start to learn to travel around the world, to experience a new culture, mingle with the new people, you continue to run. What we should do to take back this human capital? Well, you need to have opportunities. You need to have investment. You need to have international brand come here and bet of Kenya. Kenya definitely is essential to African footprint. Any company want to come in Africa has to set up its department or its headquarters in Nairobi. So that is not only involve hospitality, involve let's say many aspects of the economy. The opportunity, the international brand are already here. A lot of has been done, but still we can bring much more brands. But to fill up those rooms, we need to have a demand. And definitely, we would love to have the most important convention center for entire Africa here in Nairobi. This is what really we need. Because if we want to bring another...
Before we even go there, let me ask, Sam, how vibrant, I mean, how many rooms do you have at the club? How vibrant is your room occupancy? Before I ask another question. Sam, can you hear?
Yes, I can. Just trying to sort out my unstable internet.
Okay.
I think you asked me how many rooms we have.
Yes, and how? What is your occupancy on? You know,
we have 24 rooms, which are cottage or what we call apartment style. And we prior to COVID, we were doing between 60 and 70% occupancy. Of course, at the moment it is zero. We obviously have 3 different types of clientele. One is members, second is members guests, and the third is a corporate. The corporate side includes tour companies and people coming in for conferences and workshops and the like. That sector is definitely the most affected going forward because we had bookings for next year that have already been cancelled.
Okay.
Members and member guests is really the area that we will focus on as soon as we're ready to open, because that is available here.
So the reason why I'm asking this is because, you know, somewhat you mentioned conferencing, and obviously conferencing has a really direct link to your room occupancy. And we now know and we see that more and more globally, internet conferencing is becoming, is the craze. It's something that is becoming a characteristic of business engagement. So in this light of this, how do we see business conferencing evolving? Do you see a threat to the habits that are being picked up in this season of COVID-19, whereby people may opt to have video conferencing as opposed to you know, physical presence?
Well, definitely, like every disruption, oblige people to find a different way and change the method of work. Many companies will find now this method of work much more efficient, cheaper, at lower cost. And with all these sanitation and let's say health and safety protocol, and these, we have to see also how in many airports around the world, how this will happen. If I have to stay 5 hours in the queue in the airport, rather than do 5 trips per month, I will do just 2. This is another impact, of course. Of course, the digital conference will be the next, okay? We might see conference of 300 people, where just 50 people will attend in the meeting room, which will be the panelists, some top speakers, some journalists, and the rest of the attendance, they will do like we are doing now by Zoom, can be one. Small conference will still happen, a smaller border meeting will still happen. Huge conference is an unknown factor. We have to see what will happen, because this is, I think, in the next 6-7 months, there will come a development of the current protocol. No, more they know the virus, more they might come out with the drug to come back to the virus much faster than it's doing now. There are many things can happen the next 6-8 months. The situation is very in evolution, which will adjust the business, of course. But we have to adjust ourselves. It's not only the conference, everything. But even the way how they will book the hotel, the way they will pick up, they will select the hotel. You know, even the leisure segment example is the one who will be one of the most affected. My friend is managing a beautiful resort in Fiji. Who is going to travel 24 hours today?
Yeah.
You know, the fears are so much that in the next future, the very remote location, they have to invent something. So there are many questions.
Sam, how do you feel about conferencing?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
How do you feel about internet conferencing and its long-term effects or its immediate effects post-COVID-19 or moving ahead?
Sorry, Bill.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, please ask the question again.
Yeah, I'm asking what are your views about business conferencing, internet conferencing? What are your views? How do you see it impacting, for instance, the conferences that you host at the club? Do you see a reduction because people have now become used to this kind of engagement?
Most definitely. I think it's this method of conferencing is very efficient. We're able to share documents, we're able to converse, as long as you have reliable internet. And I won't say who our provider is. It definitely is going to be a challenge to those who have conferencing facilities. We don't have very big facilities here at the club. Fortunately, we have a lot of member events, so we're able to use the rooms as conference. The next day it's a party, kind of thing. So our conferencing is not as big as what I expect Kempinski and the other big hotels have. But for sure, companies are investing more and more in technology.
Yeah.
It will take away this physical sort of contact in conferencing.
Yeah.
We have to look for other ways to incentivize them to come and use our hotels.
Yeah.
Fortunately for us here, we can throw in a round of golf so that you come and have stay in our room, have a meeting in our meeting room, and then play a round of golf as a package.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the emerging, obviously an emerging market segment is the hotel apartments. And okay, next to Villa Rosa, there are about 400 hotel apartments coming up. We have a mega convention hall coming up through JW Marriott. What do you think about that? What's your take on all of this, this expansion with hotel apartment segment?
William, my day started very well. Why you want to affect my... Okay, let's put it that way. One question has been done to me when I arrived here. What do you think about all these hotel opening? What if no one to want to open hotel in Nairobi? Even no one want to open hotel in Nairobi means the location was not promising nor showing certain economic fundamentals which make the business attractive. Yeah. Even when everyone wants to open hotels, it means everyone likes Kenya. It means Kenya is seen as a very potential country. Of course, in the competition, there will be who is adapting at the competition, who is losing the competition. There will be certain number of room supply which will go out of the market, or they have to discount to stay on the market. And there will be some room supply which will take the, let's say, the premium pricing. Of course, we are the one most, let's say, challenged by this new investment. But are two different products. Me, in my job, like Sam in his job, I see 80% of my clients, of my customer, my guest, let's put it, I have a guest. They will have a client, so let's put it that way. This is the difference. The personalization of the service, which is typical of the Kempinski DNA and many other luxury brands like Kempinski. And even Sam does the same, because the 24 rooms, I'm sure he knows all his members. Okay, he speaks with all his members. He sits to have a coffee with all his members. Now, this kind of personalization is hospitality. It is old hospitality which need to be adapted to the, of course, to the market. That kind of business, it brings additional supply, but as well can be attractive for the demand that in normal circumstances would book another location in Africa rather than Nairobi. Because of course, having this big conference, this can attract people. Now, after COVID, I don't know how they are their own plan. For sure, we are smaller, agile, much faster in adjusting to the market curve, let's put it that way. Now, these apartments, there will be another number of apartments in the city, as we are lacking apartments. There are plenty of apartments. Office is the same. Office will be the most affected segment in the, let's say, real estate asset class. My friend working for Goldman Sachs in London said, Roberto, if we apply 1.5 meter, all the protocol, the current headquarters in Farrington for 6,000 people, the Goldman Sachs has to buy another 5 buildings. Because of course you need much more space. How many of those offices they will be profitable now if they apply the current protocol? I think in this moment, my future colleague has much more headache than me. Okay, I think he has to be more worried than me. Let's put it that way. But he's welcome. For one reason, he's welcome, because there will be many hoteliers are lost the job, and they will lose the job. Yeah. And some more hotel coming, they will absorb back this human capital, which otherwise would go lost in other sectors like farming, shopping, which have nothing to do with what they study for. So I see positively. We have to fight, but life is not easy, we know.
Okay. Sam, I have a question for you. And Roberto, you can listen and maybe try and tell me what you think. Your customer base is fast evolving. We have a new generation of customer. He's the millennial. And the millennial comes with a different dynamics altogether. Are you seeing that within your membership, and is it forcing you? Because I know like other members clubs have to really readjust to accommodate the millennial middle class client. Is there some dramatic changes that you must start to consider to keep yourself relevant, attractive to this new client? And Roberto, the same thing for you. We have millennials who can afford, millennials who are now yuppies, they are executives, but they still have a different mentality to the X generation. Please, gentlemen, tell me what you think?
Well, if I may go first, millennials, as you know, don't like rules and regulation, and clubs are bastions of those things. You can't use your mobile phone here, you can't walk on the grass, you can't do this, you can't do the other. Fortunately for us, we have had our members' children grow up in the club. And at some point, we realized that we actually do need to have a balanced sort of membership, and we need to grow our younger members, not just into regular members, but also grow them into management and administration of the club. So we got them together, and they actually created a group called the Karenites, which is a name they gave themselves, and we've encouraged them to organize activities for themselves. They organize talks, they organize webinars, they have a quiz show coming, they have social functions. They have had a number of important Kenyans come and address them on various issues. Mm-hmm. And then we also got them into the club committees. The club obviously is managed by a board of directors and a management team. And in between, we have committees that look after the various sectors and the various activities. Mm-hmm. And the Karenites are represented in all those activities. Mm-hmm. So I think we are quite safe in that we have embraced them, and we have really shown them the way, and the future really is theirs.
Okay. Mm. Roberto.
The millennial now are not anymore, let's say, a mite, because the oldest millennial now is around 40 years old. But I remember 7 years ago, And when I was speaking with the millennials, was saying, where we have your digital, well, we have in Facebook. She responded, but that is used by my parents, not by me. I thought. So I understood, I said, guys, you have to go in Instagram. And just to give you an idea, I have an Instagram account just 6 months ago. So what do? We have our digital marketer, of course. For example, all our home delivery experience, because of course, one new way to do business. Okay, we cannot do the branch at Lucca, which is quite a very famous branch for time being. We are launching a branch at home. You will have a selection of menu. You deliver the package to your home. And then you decide if you want to have also the chef and the waiter or just the package. All these things will be routed through our platform, which is a hotel website, Facebook, of course, and Instagram, where we have a person delivering these contents. We are used to deal with the millennials, of course, because okay, is it already 3, 5, 6 years? They are becoming the biggest consumer group, of course. And you cannot. We are preparing for the next generation, Generation Z, in a certain way. It's not difficult to handle them. Absolutely, it's just a different way to approach them. Different way to. They have different priority for certain aspects. Are much easier than previous generation, of course. For them, it's not important how you put a fork and knife, but it's important where they found the news about you. And number 2, if the product you deliver is Instagrammable. It has to be nice to be taken the picture. It's a new. And when somebody asks me, in which business you are, Roberto? I'm not in hospitality. I'm not even in guest experience. Today, we are in a consumer data business. All of us. Yeah. No more than less.
Well, you have millennials as your workforce, and you also have millennials as a consumer. So, at some point there's this engagement that has got to be appreciated. Yeah. There's some questions that have come through. One I just want to ask you guys. We have a question that is asking, in the hospitality industry, do we see the larger threat of COVID coming into our premises through the guests as a larger issue than from within our properties?
If I think the question is about the potential hazard if the guest is infected, something like that, I understand well.
Yeah, actually, are you more concerned about your team, staying free or coming in with this virus, or the clients that you welcome, your customer base?
We apply government rules. The government rule says guests staff need to be tested, and guests coming from outside of Kenya need to be tested. To close the gap, we have a temperature control at every single, of course, entrance, of course. So if there is any let's say, a breakage of the limits, there is a protocol in place. So we are applying what the government is providing to us. So the Ministry of Health give the protocol. That is what we are concerned about everybody, of course. Now, when you apply in the hotel the physical distancing properly, when you do check-in, when you handle the luggage, when you allow the guest access to your restaurant, your bar, or your hotel, you are already taking care about the guest and the staff. If you are making sure that everyone is wearing the mask, all these things already reduce the risk. There is not zero risk. Even after the test, you have a period of incubation. But if you put in place all these measures, these reduce the risk window.
Yeah.
At the end is a big pandemic, a threatening pandemic, where at the end we see today a 95% recovery around the world. But this 95%, 40% not even access to the hospital. So let's say reducing the risk, you're reducing the gap, and more the curve should flatten down.
Yeah. Sam, on your side, this threat.
Well, like Roberto says, we have had our staff tested, all the F&B teams. So it's again, they're wearing PPEs, so it's unlikely that they are going to come up with this problem. On the other hand, I don't think it's fair to say that it will come from outside. It could come from anywhere, really. The thing is to be prepared. do the temperature checks, do the sanitizing, make sure your staff have all the right PPEs in place.
Yeah.
And we should be able to control it.
Mm-hmm. Regarding the business, the business itself, and government intentions to, to bring in a stimulus, perhaps to help. Are you guys beneficiaries, or are you engaged in the conversations at any level? The stimulus.
Well, all of us, or the owner representative or our owner, sit with all the various stakeholders, of course, with the Minister of Tourism and Health, which are very active on the floor. The point is this is a pandemic, locked down the entire world. This is a pandemic, puts practically 5 billion people, stopping them to go and work every day. We cannot expect in Kenya to have things done fast and solve it 100%. There is a process in place, which has to go slowly. Europe, we see things going better, but it requires 3-4 months of really tragedy. And thanks God, until now in Kenya, we didn't experience the number of deaths we had in Italy, in my country, imagine. And what is happening now in UK is happening in the United States, okay? So we need the right time to solve everything. We'll need the next 3-4 times as crucial to see the pandemic go down, to see go down the number of cases, to see the business start to opening up. It's not something happen immediately. If somebody think in January we will pop champagne for 2021 with 70% of occupancy, sorry, I'm sorry to say this will not going to happen. We need the entire 2021 to start to put the business on the right track, to make all the business entities manage properly the cash flow, and we will see some numbers that we have seen in 2019, just in 2022, second half. This is what will gonna happen. This we have to be clear on this, not that somebody expect government solve our problem. The problem is global. Kenya depends from international traveler. If the Europeans don't start again to travel, if the Middle East don't start to travel, if the Americans don't start to travel, the Kenyan hospitality will suffer a lot, like every other, let's say, country in the world. We have to look globally the situation.
Dan, the stimulus package. Any decisions?
We definitely appreciate government intervention. However, we don't know in what form or what manner. We know that the Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers is in constant communication with the ministry, and eventually they'll come up and tell us what this intervention will look like. But more importantly, for the businesses in the industry is business continuity planning. If you don't have these plans in place, you can be sure that next year you're not going to have a business that's viable at all. Like Roberto says, we are not certain of when people will start traveling again, if at all. We are, like our club is only open to our members. We're not yet allowing guests to come in from, from the larger society or even from other golf clubs. And we don't know how long that situation will stay. So business continuity planning is a key, and is the only way we're going to be able to survive beyond government help.
There's a question that has come, which I must ask you, Roberto. You have an in-house client who suddenly develops high temperature. What happens?
Well, we report the author.
USA.
We follow the protocol provided by the government. We have our internal protocol, Kempinski protocol. We follow the protocol provided by the government, obviously, absolutely.
And what is the protocol at the moment? For a client,
the moment is at the gate, somebody arrives with a high temperature, we deny the entry, of course. We explain it, we deny the entrance and entry.
Okay, so this client, assuming this client is a resident, he's come for a conference, he develops high temperature after 2-3 days. What is the protocol? He's from the USA.
We have to report it to the Ministry of Health, of course. We have to follow the protocol on that. We will confine in the rooms and we report to the Ministry of Health, of course. Okay. We're protecting the identity of the customer, protecting the safety of everybody. The point is, imagine, this customer has to come from outside. First of all, is to provide this COVID certificate according to the current rules. First, the temperature control is done at the airport. Second, temperature control is done when arriving in the hotel, okay? All these things in place narrow the risk. It's already has to arrive here with this certificate, okay? So there is many things in place globally which are reducing this kind of risk. I see more the risk in the domestic market, where, of course, you know, there are not this obligation of the certificate, because the government doesn't say, let's say, the one living in Kenya to go in a bar, they have to provide certificate. No, the obligation, you have to allow to check the temperature. That's it. So I see more that kind of risk. You know, imagine you go at the supermarket, they control the temperature. You go to the Westgate, you control the temperature. A normal person. You go in a bar, they control the temperature. They go to Sam to play golf, they control the temperature. You come in my hotel, they control the. Normally, a potential Kenyan consumer has a temperature control at 5-6 times in the day by different establishment. This is already kind of system in place, right?
I agree. You know, I would love to carry on the conversation, but we must wrap it up at some point. I really must ask Sam, and even you, Roberto, if you would please, what do you see the role of institutions such as this one in this recovery process of COVID-19? Where would you see a reference to an institution like this?
Imagine one of your alumni, which investing money to come in the best hospitality school in the country. In this moment, see all this unemployment, hotel closing, he start to question himself, did I did the right choice to select hospitality? So of course he did the right choice. It's one of the most beautiful jobs in the world, of course. What is the role? The role is to prepare the hotelier of the future. So we have to work closely as the active stakeholder, you, the one that practically prepared the hotelier of the future to see what are the skills required the next 15 years, the next 10 years, and making sure these people will be prepared for that kind of market in a certain way. The role is, from my point of view, will become more important than it is now. Because we will pass from a job we're still learning by doing to a job where there will be a lot of learning by studying and then practice it. There will be a lot of things to be learned before to go in the hotel. It's already like this, but today, let's put it that way, if you don't have ambition to be a general manager, you can get a job in a restaurant, just starting the typical routine, trainee, and then you learn how to be waiter, okay? In the future, even a waiter needs to be prepared for many other things. So the school will be really, the role of the school is fundamental.
Okay. Sam, thank you.
I think you need to have a collaboration with the industry. Yeah, and this will hopefully provide coaching and mentoring opportunities for the students. It's the only way they're really going to be relevant in this industry going forward. I think the theory bit anyone can teach, but if you don't actually get immersed in the business and get an opportunity to speak to the peers and the experts and work hand in hand with them, we will never develop, even post-COVID, a proper, proper people in the industry.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for that insight. I don't know if you gentlemen had things you wanted to shoot across at each other. Sorry, I didn't give you the chance.
I'll go to visit Sam. I'm not a golf player, sorry. I'm a Mr. Business with me. You cannot do any attempt today to sell me a membership, but we're gonna meet each other for sure.
No, you must come and visit us. We're hoping to
Absolutely.
have Kenya Open Golf Championship in August.
Very good. Very good.
Very good. Sorry, it's in
Very
November.
good.
It's in November.
Okay. Yeah.
November. Yeah.
Hopefully, November situation will be much better globally, and we will be much more, let's say, free to act, to interact. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, gentlemen. I must bring this to a close. Let me take this opportunity to thank you both for taking time off your busy schedules to join us for this dialogue. It has been very fruitful. And I'm sure that the audiences who have been listening have been are taking away something quite constructive to think about. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That brings this session of the Utopia of Hospitality to a close. The next episode will be this coming Friday, same time, and we look forward to see you and engage with you then. Thank you very much and good afternoon. Kwaherini.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.